Auburn seems to be in it for several important quarterbacks for the 2027 class.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Brian Smith, host of The Portal, that's Locked On's recruiting, NIL transfer portal show, hanging out with us as he does each and every week. Want to talk about how good Scrap can be, one of the new defensive backs for Auburn. You follow Notre Dame closely, you know Scrap. I want to kind of get more into what he could possibly do because it could be a lot. Defensive line concerns. You and I have talked about defensive line a ton, not just this year, but how important it is and how Auburn has kind of done a good job overachieving with that position at times. Discuss that as well as just the overall portal class as a whole. But quarterbacks reportedly coming in. Israel Abrams, one of the top quarterbacks, a four-star across the board. He visited a few weeks ago, Brian. And then Elijah Haven and Andre Adams reportedly coming in soon. Let's go in chronological order here. Israel Abrams, 6'4", 190-pound quarterback, four-star across the board from Arlington Heights. That's apparently in Illinois.
Chicago, yeah.
A lot of folks like this kid, and it sounds like he is interested in what Alex Golesh is selling. What do you know about Israel Abrams?
National recruit. He's going to have all the offers. He's got pretty much all of them already. He's a guy that can throw the deep ball, and he plays at a program that's always got players. So he's been on the scene for a few years. Michigan and Notre Dame. Anybody you imagine, they've either offered recruiting him, whatever. Getting him on campus is intriguing because you never know about a Chicago kid coming down south. Mm-hmm. That'll be a yes or a no. Either he likes it or he doesn't, but you'll know pretty quick. And for Golesh and his staff to recruit him, like to put in the effort recruiting a kid, it's going to be hard to get a Chicago kid, but why not? They've done it before. So is it possible? Yeah. And they need to continue pushing the quarterback depth chart because Byron Brown's only going to be there 1 year.
Yeah, Israel Abrams, you look at his unofficial visits as of late, Purdue, which makes sense proximity-wise. Purdue, he's visited Purdue even most recently on January 24th, but also even back in August. Unofficially visited Iowa State, Tennessee, got an offer from Duke recently. But as far as like tracking the unofficial visits, like there's not an Ohio State or a USC, like there's not like a national power as far as like people hosting them. Is that good for Auburn? Is that a disagreement in like how he transitions to the next level? Or is it just early, Brian? If you even can be too early for a quarterback?
Oh, that's a great question, and probably do a whole podcast on that. But
right.
It's sad, but it's the most important position in sports. I think that the visits coming up, Auburn in particular, and then February, I know Notre Dame's like holding off on some of their visits to like March.
Okay.
So it just depends on the school, but I expect some of the Midwest schools, Nebraska, Ohio State, Wisconsin, all of them are going to look at him or offer him. And that list, like on 24/7 or wherever you're looking, may not be sometimes it's not complete, but he can go pretty much where he wants. That's a national top 100 kind of kid.
All right, let's pivot to Elijah Haven, expected to visit Auburn soon. Baton Rouge kid, there's a crystal ball in for him to go to Alabama. But once again, a who's who, very SEC heavy offer list and visit list happening, even some Penn State going on in there as well. So what do we know about Elijah Haven? His 247 page has him 6'5", 215, good size, and a 5-star.
I saw him at Future 50 this last summer, and the size is legit. That's a big dude. He's a pocket quarterback that can move, but he prefers to throw it. He's one of those guys that'll run only really if he has to, but he's got a natural throwing motion, and he's been brought up to play quarterback. He's one of those guys that's played it forever. He's at the Dunham School in Baton Rouge. It's a really high academic school. I don't know what to really make of his high school film, but seeing him live helped a lot. You can tell that he processes well. And I don't think he's a kid that's going to struggle with the college game like some other guys do. He's very, very articulate. So offer list is through the roof. And before anybody asks, yes, he's Baton Rouge, but There's another kid by the name of Peyton Houston is from Shreveport that's already committed to LSU, and they're not both going to go to the same school, so he's not going to end up at LSU.
Yeah, it seems like he's looking elsewhere, which could be good. Good for Auburn. And Alex Golesh, we'll see. And then Andre Adams, the last quarterback I want to bring up, 6'2", 180. 247 has him a 3-star. The composite has him as a 4-star. So high 3-star, low 4-star. Looks like Joel Gordon, the offensive coordinator, rightfully so, all over this. But getting, he visited Vanderbilt not too long ago. Also visited Auburn during the season back in October. So another name to watch, and he is from the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, this is a kid that's kind of blown up in the last 6 months. He's starting to get a lot of attention. Auburn's been on him for quite a while. I know you and I had discussed him prior to today. He's an SEC kid. He can move. I think he's a guy that can end up being a major starter at a major program. In other words, not just a guy. He could be a multi-year starter. Now we get into the question of who visits when, who wants to take out, because I'm assuming Auburn's taking one. If they're only taking one, you got these kind of kids on campus, you got to ask yourself, okay, if Haven's number one on our board, do we wait for him, hell or high water? But what if one of the other kids, this is the stuff that's so much fun with recruiting, especially at quarterback, because one is one.
Yeah.
You only take the first guy. So
and I think they're going to have to go portal after this season anyway. So your quarterback room is Byron Brown, who's, as you mentioned, done after this year. Tristan Tia, redshirt freshman. Lachlan Hewlett, redshirt freshman. Reese Brush will be a true freshman. So, yeah, I think you bring in one in the 2027 class, and I think you portal a guy after this season.
Absolutely.
And that seems pretty cut and dry. I think that's going to be the plan. And you may lose one of the younger guys because it doesn't make sense to have two guys in the same class. It just doesn't. And so if Tia or Hewlett feels like they need to leave and they've been buried behind the other one, you probably lose one of those guys. Maybe not. We'll see. And so maybe you have to portal another guy in or get another. Maybe that causes you to get another incoming freshman quarterback. But to me, I say you just get the best one you can and build your class around him.
That's what a lot of teams do, but every now and then somebody rolls the dice. And with quarterback, man, you know the deal. If you miss, it's pretty rough. So, but Auburn would do very well with any of those three.
Yeah. As far as being on schedule, and I think some of this has changed with the portal and with NIL. But at what point is it, okay, you need your quarterback in this class? When do you expect those dominoes to start falling? Auburn was in a weird spot with how late Deuce Knight flipped from Notre Dame to Auburn. What is that, 2 classes ago? And the one prior to that, Walker White committed early, picked Auburn over Clemson and all of that. So what do you expect to happen this go round?
You really would like to have one in the fold no later than the end of March. Then when the official visits start at the end of April on through, your quarterback, you're hoping he comes to campus as much as possible and helps you get receivers, tight ends, and O-linemen.
Yeah.
But I expect to start seeing several guys commit within the next month because of the junior days, because of what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, everybody's in the same boat here. They know. And if they miss on that one guy, it can go sideways. So it's always fun.
Yeah. Do whatever it takes to get the guy that you think is the next guy. You get him in the boat, whatever it takes. It's that important. All right, let's jump into a discussion about what you think about Auburn's current roster and then how defensive line plays into that. That's next after this word from Mazda.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. The WNBA has released its 2026 schedule featuring a 44-game regular season beginning on Friday, May 8th. The league's historic 30th season includes expansion teams Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo, with opening weekend highlights such as Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever hosting Paige Beckers and the Dallas Wings, and a rematch of the 2025 finals between the Aces and the Mercury. In Unrivaled, Miami felt the breeze as Paige Beckers powered the breeze to a 75-68 win over the Lunar Owls, finishing with 28 points and 7 assists. She was joined by 20-year-old Dominique Malunga, who added 21 points, 8 rebounds, and became just the second player to ever dunk in an Unrivaled game. In college hoops, South Carolina handed Vanderbilt its first loss of the season with a dominant 103-74 win. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts the same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment. Putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Zach Blackerby, Brian Smith, host of The Portal, hanging out with us. I was asked on another show that I went on yesterday, just national show, wanting kind of do an Auburn recap. They asked me to grade Auburn's roster.
Oh, wow.
I said B minus. I said B minus because I like a lot of things. I've got a few questions on DB. I think it works itself out. And I have questions on really just the defensive front when it comes to the interior D-line and edge. I've got questions about both of those. Everything else I like. Everything else I think makes a ton of sense with the scheme and the personalities and all of that. What are your thoughts on that? Am I too high, too low? Would you be close to agreeing? And what is your concern with the defensive line?
Defensive line is who's going to be the playmaker that teams have to point out before every play.
Yep.
And then what happens if somebody gets banged up? Those are the two obvious, and you really don't have to go any further because the back half of every Southeastern Conference schedule is a gauntlet. And if you're missing your 3-tech or 1-tech, it's just Katie bar the door. Second part, I'm just curious, do you feel really good about the offensive tackles for Auburn, or is it you just think it'll work itself out?
I think it'll work itself out. I like Joe Simmons a lot. Stanton Ramil, I could see it working out if he stays healthy. If you tell me like, hey, the previous injuries aren't an issue and you're fine, I'm like, okay, I can get there. I think the depth after that is fine with Jacob Strand, Jack Lair, and then the interior guys I feel good about with Cole Best and Cole Skinner. And then obviously Cale Ellis is a part of that. I could talk myself into it,
I don't know enough about them. I mean, I went through the PFF stats and looked at some of them, but it's so hard to project what a guy at Michigan State who's been banged up is going to do in the Southeastern Conference. You know what I mean? It's very hard. So that's why giving a grade, and I give you credit for even trying, I don't know how you grade the O-line because a couple of guys like that, I can't really do it.
Well, and I think a few key pieces of this are guys who haven't played yet, like Derek Plaz of Miami.
Oh, he could.
Like you weren't going to play as an underclassman for Miami's O-line last year. They were so good up front. And then who's the other from Ole Miss? TJ Hedrick, another guy like top 50 tackle in his class. It's just he was young. He was young last year, and so he didn't really play. But I think those guys can be decent. I think they can be solid players. And then the Kenneth McManus guy, which this raises a deep, almost philosophical question. Kenneth McManus played I think he played over 500 snaps at guard at Akron last year. And it's like, would you rather have that or a 4-star guy that's sitting on the bench and hasn't played yet? I think that's a fascinating discussion to have.
Depends on the 4-star, I guess. But yeah, you're right. Miami and Ole Miss. I mean, they were great. So hard to get in there. Defensively, I have the same concerns you do. And I'm going to say the same thing. And I don't mean to make you cry on your own podcast.
Great. Thanks.
But losing Jay Crawford, I don't see how you replace that. And that's why I think your grades, I would say B or B minus, because I think Byron Brown cures a lot of ills and he will help mask some of the defensive problems because they can run 4-minute offense all day with him at quarterback. That is so massive, keeping the ball away from the opposing team's offense. So
yeah,
that'll help.
Yeah. I like the corners that they've brought in. Do I like them as much as Jay Crawford and Kayan Lee? No. Counterpoint, though, if you don't figure out the pass rushing situation, it doesn't matter who's at corner. It doesn't matter if it's Andre Jordan Jr. and Shamar Arnaud, or if it's Jay Crawford and Kane Lee. If you can't get the pass rush down, it's irrelevant.
Who do you think will lead Auburn in sacks?
Jared Smith.
That's fair. Anybody else you think would be close to him? I agree with that, by the way.
I'll do a deep cut and say Darian Smith.
Most likely the strong side end for the Tigers, so that's probably right. But the difference between the guy that's a redshirt freshman and Keldrick Falk is like the difference between the top and the bottom of the Grand Canyon. So
yeah, the other edge guys they brought in, the two seniors in the edge room, Deshaun Womack from Ole Miss and Nate Johnson from Mizzou/App State. You need one of them to step up. Some people are higher on Womack than others. I'm on the wait and see. Like I don't think Ole Miss was dying to have him back, which is always concerning to me.
Exactly.
Same thought. They had answers ready, and like based off my Ole Miss people I've talked to, like I don't even know if they really made an offer to him.
Ooh, okay.
And like that's
not good.
Yeah, and like I mean, hopefully it's just like hopefully that's not entirely true. But I mean, it doesn't matter, I guess. But with the money that Ole Miss is throwing around, if they wanted him, he'd be on that roster, right? Like I don't think that's a crazy thing to say.
Yeah, I agree.
And then like a question of okay, and this is where losing Malik Blockton hurts you. Is who's that guy in the interior that can help get that push? Is it Walter Mathis from LSU? He looked good against Clemson in the opener last year. Could it be Cody Sigler, which a lot of people are high on from Arkansas State? Maybe. St. Ferrier is a guy that I don't really say his name that much. Or could it be a Malik Autry who takes a step forward? Jordan Crawford, I think, is very good, but I don't know if I want him in the pass rushing situation. But if he can become that, he'll be unstoppable. But you don't typically see that from a guy that's going to play more of that true nose.
I'm going to go Autry is the most likely, and it would be the best for Auburn because he's an underclassman.
True.
6'5", 325, and can move. Those guys are very hard to find. There's a lot really riding on him because if at the worst, if he can command some double teams, your iffy edge situation's better because they're not chipping and doubling those guys. Gives you a better chance to get home to the quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. B-, okay? Is that an okay grade, or would you go higher or lower?
BB minus. Okay. Because of Byron, I might be slightly higher than you, but I'm higher on him than probably anybody. But I just think that they're going to be
starting to see other people put him in the top 3 of SEC quarterbacks, by the way.
Oh, really? Who did?
I'm writer for LSU Wire did it.
Wow, that's interesting because they hate Auburn. They're rivals.
They put him above Sam Leavitt.
Well, Leavitt's hurts. That was my thing with him anyway, because I'm like.
But every other list has Sam Leavitt super high, and I'm like, why are some people acting like he's hurt and some not? That's weird to me. Yeah, it really feels like the DJ Lagway situation going last year. Yes. Where I'm like, why are we ignoring this?
Yeah, it's a big deal. Liz Frank injury, for people who don't know, is extremely slow, and it's annoying, and it gets re-injured a lot.
And going through spring is a big deal, and missing spring is a larger deal.
Yeah. Good luck to LSU.
We'll see. We'll see what it. Hopefully his recovery is solid and all that, but we'll see. We'll see how some people handle discussing that and others. And I don't think it's too far off from the DJ Lagway situation, but correct me if I'm wrong. All right, I want to ask you about Scrap, because I think his roster spot is fascinating. Scrap Richardson, the very dynamic athlete from Notre Dame. That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Rocket Money. Let's be real. Managing your finances can feel overwhelming between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month. It's easy to feel like you're losing control, and who has the time to track every transaction? That's where Rocket Money comes in. The personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I use Rocket Money. You should too. It's very, very easy. Once you get everything set up, it all kind of does everything for you. It's great. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Rocketmoney.com. Say it with me, /lockedon. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Final few minutes here. Scrap Richardson, dynamic athlete, was recruited by some as a receiver, some as a DB. Notre Dame liked him at receiver. Seemed like Auburn likes him at defensive back. Brian, does he have a real shot at getting into the rotation as a redshirt freshman this year?
I would say no. He played quarterback in high school. He played at a very small school, and he was the entire show. So I think this is going to be a year of learning. Now, this kid is shot out of a cannon. He's the kind of kid that could have put up the cleats and put on the spikes. He's going to be a sub 10.5 guy the rest of his athletic career, and he's already done that.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, how far is he from technique? Because he's starting all over. I assume he's played it some at some point, but like DB's a lot of technical stuff, especially in this league, man. If you miss, it's a 6.
What do you think he's a nickel? Do they put him outside? Like, what do you think he is?
I would imagine he'll get a chance at any of them. He's a physical kid, so nickel's not out of the question. But I could see boundary or field as well, because the speed he has, it doesn't matter where you play him there. It's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe with his speed, he'll play to the field because some of the faster guys are out there. But he's a physical kid. He's elite academic, like he was a 4.0 kid. So anything you give him, he'll figure it out. I don't know, but like the technique part, that takes a while. He might play in some blowouts this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if he played in like 4 or 5 games. And then next spring, not this spring, but next spring, competes for a starting role.
Yeah, we've kind of seen this at Auburn with O-line, D-line for a little bit. I mean, Jeremiah Wright, I think, falls into this category where like you move, and this isn't all Auburn doing this with scrap, obviously, but switching these guys positionally over and over again and from a different school and different system, like that's just, it hinders the development so much. And so I hope it's not a situation where like, all right, in the spring he's with the DBs, and then you hear some rumors over the summer, it's like, oh, they're going to try him at receiver. And it's like, man, like let him lock in. Let him lock in. So like, I hope wherever they put him at the start of the spring is where they keep him for scrap's sake.
Yeah, because again, he played quarterback in high school, so all of it is new. And he was just a logjam at Notre Dame at receiver. He would have been a logjam at DB there too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just got to cook for a couple. He might not be a guy that starts until he's a senior and 5th year senior, but that's okay, because again, he ran like 10.4 in high school. Like he's a flat out player. So you have to put your resources into guys like that. And this is historically where Auburn's made their money. They find track athletes that play football too, and they, where are we going to play him? Swartz and different guys they've had. That you got to make it work in different ways. And if it's DB and he wants to play it, go for it. By the way, he's a great kid.
Any high school guys that you're like discovering tape on and getting to know, and you're like, oh my goodness, this guy's worth paying attention to? You got anybody?
Yeah. For those that are in the greater Auburn or Montgomery area, there's a kid by the name of Caleb Ballard. He's at Wetumpka, which is obviously just outside of Montgomery. He is the next guy up in the greater Montgomery area, in my opinion. He's class of 28, so he's only going to be a junior this next year, but like 6'5 plus. His dad's was an NFL player. He's got a wingspan of a 7-footer, basketball, football, whatever you want. He's a kind of a freaky kid, 215, 220, probably ends up at tight end. But if your wingspan is 7 foot, we need to talk if you can play receiver.
Yeah, his Twitter bio says 7'2" wingspan.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. Whatever. We're good either way. And,
you had me at the 7.
Yeah, his dad was an offensive lineman in the league, so he's a kid that'll grow weight and be a big tight end, but like he's an athlete. And those are the kinds of kids Auburn has to get. He's from 50 minutes away from campus. Can't miss out on kids like that.
Yeah, 6'5", 215, 7'2" wingspan, hand size 10 inches, 3/4, 4.56 40, and then a jumping vertical of 30.2. I mean, that's just an athlete right there. He's got a lot of like basketball highlights and all that.
Hoops, but he knows football from what I've been told is the long-term problem. And he plays both. So it's just basketball maybe it's more fun for him now. But when guys get a lot bigger and he's the smallest guy on the court, yeah, it's time to play football.
Got it. All right. Yeah, it's Caleb Ballard from
Wetumpka.
Worth noting. His basketball tape on his Twitter page is crazy. So,
Oh.
Brian, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
The Portal Podcast actually did a live show on the Oregon Ducks and their portal class today. We're doing one every day. Going to do Auburn's here pretty soon. They're coming up in the next week. Every day going to be somebody different. Check out the Portal Podcast, same way you check out Locked on Auburn.
Yep. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.